Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Prabhupada and Good Maharaj. Radha Mataji, whenever you're ready, you can start Mataji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Algo Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Narancheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye नष्टप्रायेषु अवद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 26, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. Text 61. After the mind, the moon appeared, intelligence appeared next, and after intelligence, Lord Brahma appeared. Then the false ego appeared, and then Lord Shiva, and after the appearance of Lord Shiva came consciousness and the deity presiding over consciousness. Text 62. When the demigods and preceding deities of the various senses were thus manifested, they wanted to wake their origin of appearance, but upon failing to do so, they re-entered the body of the Virat Purusha one after another in order to wake him. Text 63. The god of the fire entered his mouth with the organ of speech, but the Virat Purusha could not be aroused. Then the god of wind entered his nostrils with the sense of smell, but still the Virat Purusha refused to be awakened. Text 64. The sun god entered the eyes of the Virat Purusha with the sense of sight, but still the Virat Purusha did not get up. Similarly, the predominating deities of the direction entered through his ears with the sense of hearing, but still he didn't get up. Text 65. The predominating deities of the skin, herbs, and sensory plants entered the skin of the Virat Purusha with the hair of the body, but the cosmic being refused to get up even then. The god predominating over water entered his organ of generation with the faculty of procreation, but the Virat Purusha still would not rise. Text 67. The god of death entered his anus with the organ of defection, but the Virat Purusha could not be spurred to activity. The god Indra entered the hands with their power of grasping and dropping things, but the Virat Purusha would not get up even then. Text 67. Lord Vishnu entered the feet with the faculty of locomotion, but the Virat Purusha refused to stand up even then. The rivers entered his blood vessels with the blood and the power of circulation, but still the cosmic being could not be made to stay. Text 68. The ocean entered his abdomen with the hunger and thirst, but the cosmic being refused to rise even then. The moon god entered his heart with the mind, but the cosmic being would not be roused. Text 67. Brahma also entered his heart with intelligence, but even then the cosmic being could not be prevailed upon to get up. Lord Rudra also entered his heart with the ego, but even the cosmic being didn't stay. Text 70. However, when the inner controller, the deity presiding over consciousness, entered the heart with the reason, at the at that at that very moment, the cosmic being arose from the casual waters. Text 71. When a man is sleeping, all his material assets, namely the vital energy, the sense for recording knowledge, and the sense for working, the mind and the intelligence cannot arouse him. He can be aroused only when the super soul helps him. Text 72. Therefore, through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that supersoul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of third canto, 26th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna devotees.
Yeah, thank you so much, Radha Mataji. Sri Krishna Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Radha Mataji and Prabhuji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vairagya Vidyanija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Krupambudirtamaham Prapadye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are seeing this wonderful chapter described by Kardama Muni on the Sankhya philosophy to Devahuti. So in this chapter, in the beginning of the chapter, Kapila Dev is basically now diving into detail on the elements of this universal creation. Like the 24 elements of the universal creation, what are those? So he listed them. And then the 25th element, which is the time factor itself, the Supreme Lord's time factor. And the Lord himself is actually the super soul, is controlling everything. Now he's elaborating in detail how these elements manifested in the first place, and one by one how they came into appearance, and how these elements, along with the deities, are playing the entire part of the magic in the material creation, sustenance, all that, how it is happening like vividly in a very in a graphical way. Kapiladev is explaining one by one. So each of these verses are very, very subtle and detailed, but we'll just go through some of the messages that Prabhupada is actually giving, underlining these verses, technical verses, starting from 61. Now, Kapiladev is saying about Virat Purusha, how Virat Purusha manifested several aspects of this material nature, like from Mahatattva, these individual elements have manifested, and now for the maintenance of these individual elements in Prakriti, the presiding deity is also manifesting. So starting from verse number 61. So here the Manasas Chandrama Jato, the mind is appeared, and then the moon also appeared. So the moon god is basically the presiding deity of the mind. And then Buddhir Girampatihi. So here the intelligence appeared. Next, after the intelligence, Lord Brahmaji also appeared. So here we can understand that this is even before Lord Brahma's appearance. So the intelligence, because the Brahmaji's body is fully made of intelligence. So the Lord is manifesting intelligence, and then the Lord Brahma, who is a deity of intelligence, is also manifested here. And Ahankaras Tato Rudras. So the false ego also appeared, and then Lord Shiva, who is the presiding deity of the false ego, he also appeared. And then after the appearance of Lord Shiva, Chittam Chaityas Tato Abhavat. So the presiding deity the consciousness and the presiding deity of consciousness also appeared. So in this entire list of verses, there are only two verses Prabhupada elaborates purport, like this is 61 is one of them. So we'll just deep dive a little bit on the messages that Prabhupada is giving here. So here it says that from these deities, Moon God and then Brahmaji and Lord Shiva. The Moon God is actually Lord Brahma is basically presiding deity of intelligence, who is also on the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva is a presiding deity of Ahankar, false ego, is a mode of presiding deity of the mode of ignorance. So after this, the consciousness is appearing. Like after the appearance of false ego, the consciousness is appearing. So then, which indicates that the false ego from the beginning is under the influence of Ahankar, like material consciousness. So this Ahankar is basically just exactly opposite to the real ego, real identification. So the real identification is Jivere Swarupa Hai Krishnere Nityadas. Like we are all eternally, servant of Krishna. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. Just opposite to that is we are all made of material elements. We are just nothing more than the matter. That exactly opposite to that. So that is what the false ego tries to influence. So every living entity is under this mode of false ego. They are thinking we are just nothing more than this matter. So somehow or other we have to, just maintain this matter, which is basically, is perishable. Antavanta ime deha. So it's going to be perishable. So that kind of influence is on the consciousness. So this consciousness, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a process to purify this consciousness by Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So in the Sikshashtakam sloka, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the first verse, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Baha Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. So this Sikshashtaka verse is being elaborated here by Srila Prabhupada. So the first result of chanting Mahamantra, this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is basically to remove the dirt from the consciousness or the Chetam, the mirror of the mind. And then the blazing fire, Mahadavagni, of the material existence slowly comes down and then completely dissipates. So this is elaborated on by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This blazing fire is, the reason of this blazing fire is basically the false ego, which is covering our consciousness. So once the false ego is removed, then the real identity we can understand. Nobody has to explain that we are satisfied after taking prasadam, right? So we are, satisfied by the presence of the dissipation of this, the hunger is felt within. So similarly, the Mahadavagni, that the blazing fire of material existence, the dissipating that influence one can feel by taking this Mahamantra and chanting this Mahamantra. So the same message here in this verse, Prabhupada is pointing out this because here it is mentioned that the Chittam Chaityas Tato Abhavat, this Chittam, the consciousness came right after the false ego. So it is said that the subtle body is basically like a secret vault. Inside the core of the subtle body is the soul, and then the false ego, and the intelligence, and then the mind. So all the subtle coverings are over the first covering that one has to remove is the dirt, is the false ego. So when that happens, one can free himself from the from the clutches of this Maya, influence of Maya. So at that time, what happens is the intelligence, which is actually influencing the jiva, the consciousness, is also gets purified. So when the like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this example, Srila Prabhupada, like when you see in the mirror, you see only dirt, you can't see anything. But as soon as the mirror is clean, when you see the face, then everything becomes revealed, and then your intelligence is also purified from a perspective that you understand, that slowly understand that I am not this matter. I am part and parcel of Krishna. Then what happens? The mind, which is also a product of material nature, slowly gets engaged into the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead under the guidance of Guru. So this process, entire process mentioned in the Siksashtaka, is basically the process how we can get out of this influence of false ego or ahankar. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually born on a full moon day, right? So he's also said called as Gaurachandra. So Prabhupada compares the moon on this planet. Even though the moon on this planet, sometimes people may see spots, but Gaurachandra, Lord Gaura, who is a spotless transcendental moon. So Lord Gauranga is basically appeared to dissipate this blazing fire of material existence in the hearts of living entities, and he is a transcendental moon himself, and he is spotless. Now, in order to fix the mind in the service of the Lord, now what one has to do is we have to worship the spotless moon, like Gaurachandra or Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So now those who are materially passionate, so generally in this material world, we can see that people who are passionate, they use their intelligence for advancing this material life, and they generally worship the deities, the demigods, in order to become more opulent, more powerful. Just like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, they all worship Lord Shiva in order to become more powerful in this material world. But if you look at the other side of the picture, Prahlad Maharaj and other devotees who wanted to elevate themselves and come out of this material consciousness, this false ego, they took the shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is none other than Lord Gauranga, who comes in this Kali Yuga. Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. So in order to spread the name of the Lord, in the Kali Yuga, Lord appears as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So in the Bhagavatam also, it is mentioned that Lord appears, in a golden form in this age of Kali, and Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sanga Pangashtra Parshadam Yagnair Sankirtanai Prayer Yajanti hi Sumedashaha. So one who is very intelligent, they will take the worship of Lord Gauranga, and they will take the congregational chanting, which purifies the heart from the blazing fire of material existence. So this is the message that it comes from this first verse, and then we'll just glance through the remaining verses and discuss. So basically, in this remaining verses, we can see how the various demigods and presiding deities, they are trying to wake up the Virat Purusha, but they are not able to wake up the Virat Purusha, So now, in the Prabhupada makes a point that in order to in order to rechannel the sense activities from concentration on the outside to concentration inside. So in order to wake the sleeping deity, one has to rechannel the sense activities from concentration on the outside to concentration inside. So this is basically from Bahir, from Bahir means outside to inside, like within, like most of these living entities are focused on, generally on the sensual activities, which are mostly focused on the outside rather than the inside, inside the body itself, right? Inside the body, there is Supreme Lord, Super Soul is also residing. We are breathing every second, all the functions of the body is happening within. The heart is functioning, the lungs, liver, everything is functioning within. But we are mostly focused on the outside, like 99% we are focused on the outside, right? So this particular point, Prabhupada is now he is focusing. So now in order to wake up the sleeping deity controller within, we have to rechannel the sense activities from concentration on the outside to inside. So we have to bring this concentration inside. So meaning that we have to focus on the super soul who is sitting within the heart through the devotional service, through Nama Japam is basically a meditation which focuses on the inside, which is kindling your consciousness, pure consciousness, by removing the covering of the heart, the mind, it's purifying the consciousness. So that is Prabhupada is pointing out in this purport here. So now going on further, now the different demigods like god of fire, Agni, and then the directions, the god of the directions, the wind, Vayu, and all of them, they are trying to arouse the Virat Purusha. They are not able to do it. Now, again, going forward, then Virat Purusha, they are trying the predominant deities of directions, they are also trying, and then the sense of hearing. And then the different elements of this senses, goes like one by one, the skin, the hairs of the body, and then the organ of procreation. So all of the deities are manifesting, and here the mrityu, gudam mritya apanena. So the god of death is also along. He after his manifestation, even the Virat Purusha did not come to the activity. So now, finally, on the verse number 69, Brahmaji, who's made of intelligence, he enters the heart, and then Lord Rudra, who's entered his heart with the ego, and still the cosmic manifestation did not arose the Virat Purusha. So now finally the inner controller, the deity presiding consciousness, entered the heart. At that very moment, the cosmic being arose from causal waters. So causal waters here. So here, Chittena Hrudayam Chaitya. So here, the consciousness. At this point, so now finally, here, this is a point that is made by Kapiladev. So what he's saying, Yata Prashupatam Purusham. So he's saying that when a person is sleeping, all is, like all of his material assets, namely his house and his paraphernalia, his car or whatever, everything is vital energy, his senses, everything is inanimate, meaning they are all, they could not arouse him. The senses, the mind, intelligence, they cannot arouse him when the person is on the sleeping condition. Like there are three states that deep sleep, and then almost the waking condition, deep sleep, and then in the intermediate state, that partially awake. So in this three state, when the person is fully on the deep sleep, all of these things cannot arouse him. The only thing that can arouse him is the super soul, when the super soul within helps him. So that point here Kapila is making. So here, this is a very important point, that here for the Sankhya philosophy, basically in this entire chapter, the Sankhya philosophy, Kapila is trying to explain in detail. So, and he's linking the entire knowledge here to understand that the Lord is actually present within as a super soul, and the relationship between the Lord and the Jiva, and that is so intricate. That relationship is so intricate that one has to focus on that relationship, the relationship, in order to come out of this material consciousness situation. And that can be done only by devotional service. And another is detaching from this material, detachment from this material world, and linking ourselves with the supreme absolute by the process of devotional service. So the entire Sankhya philosophy is to detach ourselves from this material nature, so that we can concentrate our mind, our intelligence towards the Supreme Lord, Super Soul within, and externally and internally. So what we are doing through chanting is trying to connect internally, and what we are doing through the other processes of devotional service, like Arati, Archa Vigrahana, externally. So Lord is present, both externally and internally. He is everywhere, and he is even present in the form of Guru, who is representation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we also worship Guru as a representative of Lord. So that way we are trying to connect with the Supreme Lord within and without. So that, and within and without, what happens when we connect through that process of devotional service? So finally, in the verse number 72, Kapila Dev is concluding that therefore tam ashmin pratyak atmanam diya yoga pravritya. So yoga pravritya is the process here is mentioning that in the advancement of bhakti, bhaktya viraktya jnanena. So the bhakti, through the process of bhakti, virakti and jnana is attained. So this we know that Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also mentioned in the verse in the earlier verses, that Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojataha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahaitukam. So when the bhakti is done without any cause or motivation, that this bhakti is the byproducts that comes from this bhakti is Jnanam and Vairagyam. So that detachment and Vairagyam and Jnanam is basically acquired through concentrated devotional. So the same message here Kapila Dev is giving. Bhaktya viraktya jnanena vivichyatmani chintaye. So one should contemplate on this. So one should concentrate his devotional service, and should contemplate on the super soul present in the same body. So this is the message of Kapila Dev here. So here Prabhupada gives elaborate purport about how we can actually realize that super soul is within oneself. So although we are in the same body, the Atma and Paramatma in the same body, Atma has affection for this material existence, the material world, but Paramatma is completely detached. So when the soul also detach himself, like when the Atma also detach himself from the material body and try to attach to the super soul by the process of devotional service, and that time the soul actually gets relief from this bondage of material existence. So that is the point here Kapila Dev is also saying. And the whole point of Sankhya philosophy is to detach ourselves from this material contamination so that the mind and the intelligence can be focused on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, but on the opposite side, when the mind is when the mind and intelligence is attracted to this material opulence, material prosperity, this bhautika loka, then it is not possible to concentrate on the super soul, and there is no possibility. His Prabhupada is saying there's no possibility of concentrating. So that is the whole point here, that through this Sankhya philosophy, through this knowledge, somehow or whether we can come to the understanding that we are not this body, we are not the matter, but we are actually part and parcel of Supreme Lord, and then try to re-establish this connection with the Supreme Lord, and that would be the perfection of this perfection of this knowledge that is given by Kapila for our own benefit. So this is the sum and substance of the Sankhya philosophical system. Is basically he's saying that concentration of mind upon the super soul by analytical study of this material nature. So the perfection is culminates in the devotional service unto the absolute truth. So basically, one who has understood this Sankhya philosophy perfectly, what he will do is he will fully engage in devotional service and connect himself to the absolute truth. So that is the perfection of the Sankhya philosophy. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyeva Paditana Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.